The FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, says he will in due course give appropriate response to all that former Sokoto governor Aminu Tambuwal said last Friday. The minister's senior special assistant on public communications and social media, Lere Olayinka, said Wike would not let Tambuwal's latest comments against him and President Bola Tinubu go without a response. Senator Tambuwal had last Friday said he had always been guided by principles of leadership and not by personal relationships. Now, Tambuwal says he will support former Vice President Atiku Abubakar over FCT Minister Nyesom Wike if it came down to a choice over the future of Nigeria. He was speaking in an interview. Tambuwal said his political choices are guarded strictly by principles of leadership and not personal relationships. He noted he had maintained cordial relationship with past and present leaders across party lines. According to him, past political differences with leaders such as former President Goodluck Jonathan were strictly based on principle and policy direction, not personal grievances. I'm trying to get that statement. I'm hoping I don't have the wrong one.
Whenever there's such a disruption, we automatically implement them.
No, that's not it. I will get that sound. But a couple of questions that have come out of this. How do political actors choose what to react or respond to and what not to? Now, the person of Wike, of course, there is a media chat every month, so you know he has a lot that he's going to react to. And, well, his personality, you and I know that he's very vocal. Some others don't always talk. They keep to themselves. Is politics now reserved to a person's personality? Should there be a consensus on what a politician should choose to speak about and where they should restrain themselves? My guest is Marcus Ijioma. He's a public affairs analyst and a communications consultant. So in the business of communication, he also qualifies to tell us what we should and should not talk about. Hello, Marcus. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, good evening, Sam. Good evening, Port Harcourt.
Okay. Can you hear me clearly?
Loud and clear.
All right.
Can you hear me?
So before I talk about what should be and what isn't, what's your take on Tambuwal's position and the idea that Wike says at the right time he will respond to him?
Well, before I say anything, I'd like to lay a basic foundation. So I can't remember the particular political philosopher who once said or defined politics as who gets what, when, and how.
Okay.
I'll take that. He said politics can be defined as who gets what, when, and how the person gets that thing. The sum total of all of that is what is the best definition of politics that I've ever come across. The other thing I would like to also say about this foundation is that the leader's ideological disposition affects their behavior as leaders, as positional leaders.
Okay.
So, having said this too, Tambuwal is just playing with words. I watched that interview very well, and then he was making illustration about whether he can leave his school with the university minister, or when it comes to choice, where he would prefer people. Those things are neither here nor there. Why I say that is because it depends on who is going to get what and how. So I won't be surprised if it comes up tomorrow with another analogy that, technically speaking, it prefers Wike. So that is as much as I can take from that.
Well, as much as I don't see anything to it and you don't as well, there is a background to this. Also, and this is the most important part, there are followers on both ends. The common narrative has been that Tambuwal betrayed Wike, which Tambuwal has never responded to until now. Right? Some people have even called the station to say, oh, if Tambuwal did not side with Atiku in 2023, Wike would have been the flag bearer for the PDP and possibly the president at this time, and we'll on that. But hey, opinions. So when you have that kind of narrative, and then the main character in the story comes out to say that he does not make decisions based on cordiality and friendship, but based on principle, which is obviously alluding to something. That something that should be nothing becomes something. Because again, it's always about the followers, what they choose to make of these statements that seem nothing. Hello?
I can hear you.
Yeah. So, to the degree of the weight that the statement carries, what's your take?
I think the summary of that statement simply means that if Atiku and Wike are to be kept out by fight today, Tambuwal will still go for Atiku as far as the presidency of Nigeria is concerned. However, the FCC minister has not made it clear to us whether he's going to be running for president again or not. But as followers, we not just followers, as human beings, we tend to hear things in two ways. We hear through body language. In other words, the words that are, in your introduction, you talk about people who don't speak off. So for those ones, you have to study their body language and know where they are, which direction they are based on action and inaction, necessarily their words. And then there are others like us who are very outspoken, who are very predictable in terms of our we don't hide our feelings. I share a lot of similarity with the city minister. So I understand what the challenges are. So the followers will always, majority of the followers will go with what's spoken. And as politicians have mastered the art of playing this emotional game with the minds of Nigerians, majority of whom are not emotionally intelligent. In fact, the topic of emotional intelligence is literally new to a lot of people. Even when you talk about financial literacy and other things, for some of us, most of us, we haven't heard about it until about 3, 4, 5 years ago. So most Nigerians are bedeviled with other economic hardship, insecurity, and other things that they tend to want to go with the surface meaning, which is what is said. So these statements are meant to basically begin to sway the minds of would-be supporters, especially in a country like America when elections are coming. There's a particular segment of the society that is usually focused on, which is the undecided voters, and they make a big chunk of voters on election money. People who, until they got to the polling unit, didn't know who they want to vote for, but they just want to vote.
Okay.
They were not sure. So statements dropped here and there is more or less to water the ground for where Tambuwal. In fact, it's even predictable. Everybody knows that Tambuwal is staying along with the DC and the coalition. So it's basically clear that as far as the president of Nigeria goes, Wike can follow whoever he wants to follow. He has decided to follow Atiku. That's the summary of that statement, and there's nothing more to it.
All right, we'll take a break, and coming up next, there are also assertions about their political models, Tambuwal versus Wike. After the break, we talk. Please stay with us. still hard facts. 92.3 Nigeria Info. Sam Chinedu here. The FCC minister says he will in due course give appropriate response to all that former Sokoto governor Aminu Tambuwal said last Friday. The minister's senior special assistant in public communications on social media, Larry Olayinka, said Wike would not let Tambuwal's latest comments against him and President Tinubu go without response. Now, as to what Tambuwal said, he said his political choices are guarded strictly by principle of leadership and not personal relationships. Of course, speaking about why he did not choose Wike over Atiku. I'm trying to get that. I'm hoping I can find it. Just a second. Okay, let's hope I have found it.
It's not about my friendship with you. If today, and I'm saying this with every sense of responsibility, Vice President Atiku comes in here and Nyesom Wike comes in here and requests this my phone, which is personal to me. Today, I'll personally give it to Nyesom Wike. But when it comes to leadership of this country and leadership of the people, tomorrow, not even today, I'll rather support Atiku than Nyesom Wike. It's nothing personal. It's about this country, and we are seeing it clearly. I have never betrayed anybody, because it's only when you have an understanding with someone and you go against and outside that understanding that you betray him.
All right, so that's exactly what Tambuwal said and how he said it. I'm glad we're able to play that. Marcus, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, if you can hear me.
Okay, perfect. Now, we know what happened in 2023, and I mean, this would just be speculative, right? But I'm sure that...
No, just back.
Hello?
Backdate to 2018.
Okay, backdate to 2018. Okay. So,
presidential.
If, again, like I said, it's speculative. If Tam
and no at the same time, the margin between Nyesom Wike and the 2022 presidential primaries is way beyond the total state delegates. Which one will believe that those are the ones that Tambuwal has control over?
Mm.
So, except Tambuwal has another influence that he can maybe influence, his influence stretches into KB, maybe Niger states and all the neighboring states in the northwest. You and I cannot tell right now. But I think the FCT minister would have appreciated not at least 90% of the Sokoto delegates. And we know how delegates work. They are usually at the whims and caprices of the sitting governor. Mm. So, to that extent, I think even Wike would have lost a better fight. In other words, with a slimmer margin. When the margin is wider, it looks shameful and disgraceful.
Okay.
So, and if I must sound like a Nigerian politician, it makes it difficult to also read when the margin becomes too wide.
Okay.
But if the margin is close, then it's easy to flip things around and come up with something. So in that regard, I would say yes. If Tambuwal supported Wike, maybe Wike. All Tambuwal needed. Why they call it a betrayal? Tambuwal is claiming that he never went into any agreement. He doesn't have any agreement. That is not true. It's not true, because what followers are calling betrayal is very simple to understand. You know how in 2018, Wike insisted, PDP was almost dead at the time, and we must give the former governor of Rivers State that credit. When he brought in Alimodu Sheriff and all the other people, tried to sustain the party and insisted that the PDP presidential primaries must hold in Port Harcourt. And he did help in Port Harcourt. And Wike directed his loyalists to support Tambuwal. So you can imagine now that in 2022, he was probably expecting that gesture. Don't forget that Rivers State 500 million went into Sokoto fire victims.
Yeah, your market, yeah.
The Sokoto market fire, which is still a pain in Rivers people. That my other markets have been burning in Rivers State and they have not gotten that kind of intervention. So, having done all of that, it is only natural for the FCT minister to expect Tambuwal to reciprocate. If we are not talking about a written agreement, So if Tambuwal is trying to mislead people by saying he never went into any agreement, we can understand the argument on paper, on the surface, on paper. But there is a simple human agreement where if I do for you, you do for me.
Yeah, but
so if Wike did all of that for Tambuwal, and then in 2022, Wike is expecting that Sokoto is in the bag, and suddenly Sokoto is in the bag of Waziri Adamawa, that can be seen clearly as a betrayal. So Tambuwal is just playing with words, like I said. They are not, these are politicians. They have mastered the art of putting the mind game of their followers.
Okay, Marcus. Now, a gentleman's agreement is what this is, because nothing was written on paper. Hands were shaking, and there were expectations. And I think what this can be termed is reciprocity of goodwill. The hope that because I did for you, I should expect some level of goodwill in return. But do I get to choose how you will pay me back? If I came to your rescue in your hour of need, I was there for you as a friend in need, a friend indeed. Do I get to choose, Marcus, because I have done this for you, this is how you should also extend goodwill to me, considering that it is also goodwill and not a contract?
Sam, I will assume that the FCT minister would have personally reached out to Tambuwal before that primaries. And if Tambuwal did not, funny enough, none of us have those records right now. Like we said, it's not written. So if Tambuwal gave him any assurance, then he will probably not be expecting anything. He will know he won't say he was betrayed. Or his supporters will not be saying their organ was betrayed. Because, these people don't move alone. So if an FCT minister, a person of Wike, is going to meet with Tambuwal today, I'm sure there will be other people in that parlor. Except you are saying the meeting probably held in Tambuwal's bedroom or in Wike's bedroom, which is not the case. So these supporters probably witnessed what happened. And, if I tell something, having a campaign, and I need Sam's influence in the media, and Sam says, no problem, I got you. And I go to my followers and I tell them, for some of us, as far as Nigerian Igbo constituency is concerned, I have the assurance of Sam, I have the assurance of Kalachas, and Rumos is covered. I only mean I'm losing. So it's a very practical case of people not honoring the agreement and trying to speak English over them and give unnecessary analogy. Just imagine the analogy he gave. If I was to give my phone to Wike, is Wike your wife? It's only women that will appreciate you giving them your phone. That's a means of trust.
I have held your phone, and you have held my phone as well. We don't have to be locked in that kind of relationship to have access to each other's phone. It's just an expression of the extent of friendship. That's what Tambuwal was trying to describe. That's, he's my guy. He can hold my phone, and I can hold his phone.
What is it for the FCT minister to transfer money from his phone? What kind of analogy is that? He's simply telling us, I will repeat again, that supporting Atiku, nothing more, nothing less. Because the only response I expect from the FCT minister is probably to give more details to this agreement, if there was any. I don't know if you get me how the agreement was reached, but I've been an observer for a long time. So I can tell you what Wike's expectations were, and he's not wrong to expect that from Tambuwal. So it's actually a case of betrayal. Tambuwal should start speaking English on top of this thing.
Okay, I'll be taking calls now, but my final question for you is, there has been an analysis, an assessment of their different models of leadership. People say Tambuwal's leadership style is principle-based, while Wike leans towards loyalty and strength in alliances. Do you agree with this assertion?
I agree, and that will take me back to the second statement I made at my opening, which has to do with leaders' ideological disposition. And by ideological disposition, I'm referring to their personal temperament. And the temperament of these two gentlemen is influenced largely by religion.
Okay.
Tambuwal is a core Muslim from the north. Wike is a Christian from the south. Christians are more easygoing, more outspoken than Muslims. There are very few Muslim clerics, what do you call them now?
Clerics?
Yeah, clerics, yes, that are very few of them that we can point to. But when you come down to the south and see the Christian one, there are so many. What does that tell you? That the religious influence in the lives of these two individuals help them in their political socialization processes. So it's not a question of non-Nigerian politicians that I can beat my chest for to say, oh, this person is so principled. We've lost those generation in the generation of Zik and Awolowo and the rest. Even at their level, there were few skirmishes and betrayers. Not to talk of today's politicians that can be best described as the left face. It's about fair weather. So none of them is principle. Tambuwal is not principle. Neither can I say the FCT minister is principle. It's about interest. Who gets what, when, and how. Wherever Bele face, you face. That's the kind of politicians we have now. We don't have politicians with principle. If we have politicians with principle, with all that Wike said about APC, could you have imagined that he would take a ministerial appointment from APC? You know, you remember the famous malaria to cancer analogy.
Yeah.
And today, obnobbing with the cancerous APC. And then you look at Tambuwal, who used to be a boy to a senator under PDP, came into National Assembly as a political aide to a senator, eventually defeated the senator made way for him to be a member of House of Rep. And then he ended up serving against the same person and became a House of Rep member, later governor of Sokoto State. Does that look like principle? Kosovo had contested against his boss, the man who introduced him to the National Assembly. So how can he say it's principle? If I give you a job as my PA in Nigerian Info, and then you come and take my job, does that sound like a principal person?
Yeah, but Marcus, again, I don't want to get down to the semantics of this argument, because what you're saying sounds very much like let's use the Igbo apprentice system, where you get a boy from the village, he serves you for 7 years, he learns a trade, and then you settle him, like we say. What you're trying to say is, so tomorrow, if that boy has the opportunity to now be bigger than his oga, he should not take it because he is principled. It doesn't quite apply.
No, that apprentice will be unwise, very insensitive to go and open his own shop beside his oga's own.
No, he might not open beside oga, but in some way, shape, or form, he's a competitor. And Tambuwal has his own political career, which he needs to pursue.
If Tambuwal wanted a political career, knowing that his oga that brought him to National Assembly as a legislative aide was still interested in running for the office, he would have gone for House of Assembly, not the same National Assembly.
Do you know?
That is what I'm saying.
Do you know? Again, we digress. But do you know if, and you know how these things are, you go and meet the oga.
I'm saying that they both men, you are trying to establish that two of them have principle. One has principle, the other one uses his temperament and sagacity to get political connection. And I'm telling you that both of them are fair weather. None of them is principled. That's the point I'm trying to make. That both of them are opportunity seekers. Don't forget my definition. Who gets what, when, and how? If Nyesom Wike today finds an opportunity how he can become president, I'm sure he will take it.
Well, he has said that he would not run against the president. He said he has no intention of going against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who he works for, who he also believes would win landslide. Those were his words.
Sam, I don't know if you have watched this movie, Designated Survivor.
Yes, indeed, I have. Kiefer Sutherland.
Okay, good. Good. The gentleman was just a minister of one of the pure ministers. Maybe in today's Nigeria, he would have been minister of humanitarian affairs or women affairs. But he was, by stroke of luck, not at the Capitol Hill when the place was bombed. And by the laws, he becomes acting president. But did you know that the so-called acting president, who reluctantly became president, ended up running for election? So let's imagine for one second that an opportunity presents itself that President Tinubu say, I'm no longer running. Or there's an opportunity for me to be president, you tell me that you say, no, if Tinubu will resign, me too, I'll resign. You think that will happen? Or you think that if Tamba Atiku decides today that he's no longer going to run from the north, Tamba will not throw his cap in the ring in the same ADC? So it's let's forget about the point I'm trying to make is, as far as principles is concerned, I'm sorry to say I can't see it yet in non-living Nigerian politicians today. None of them, I can tell you for free. Okay. Apologies to the few that maybe be principled, but I don't know them. But I can almost tell you that all of them It's what Nigerians call belle face. Wherever is going well, they go. It's about survival. These people can't survive after political office. Tambuwal is a political orphan now. He's out of business as far as politics is concerned. So he's hoping that Atiku will come back so that they can continue to enjoy from the patrimony of Nigeria. Everybody is looking for, except me and you who are still speaking English on radio. Everybody is positioning themselves for 2019 so that they can continue. There is no job, there is no business. It's only in politics that you can invest 100 million and get 20 billion in less than a month or two. So these are the kind of ventures that they are going into. Tambuwal is not principled. That's the point I'm trying to make. Yes, Wike is highly connected. He knows how to build bridges. You can't take it away from Wike. He's done that very well. He has survived for as long as democracy returned. We must give Court Wike some slack. He has done a lot. And his temperament has played a good role in that.
Okay. Thank you, Marcus Ijioma. I would consider getting into politics so that I'm one of the few principled politicians that are out there. But as always, it's wonderful doing this with you.
I wish you well. Thank you.
Have a beautiful day. All right. Conversations that are supposed to matter. My question is very simple. In Nigeria's politics, how much weight do political statements make? In Nigeria's politics, how much weight do statements by political actors carry? When a Wike makes a statement, how much influence does that have on his followers? Now, Tambuwal has said a few things. A few days ago, Wike said, I would respond in due time. If you'd like to know what those few things are, here it is.
It's not about my friendship with you. If today, and I'm saying this with every sense of responsibility, Vice President Atiku comes in here and Nyesom Wike comes in here and requests this my phone, which is personal to me. Today, I'll personally give it to Nyesom Wike. But when it comes to leadership of this country and leadership of the people, tomorrow, not even today, I'd rather support Atiku than Nyesom Wike. It is nothing for anybody because standing with someone and you go against and outside that understanding that you betray him.
So that was Tambuwal's statement, and the special advisor to the FCT Minister on Media says the FCT Minister will respond in due time. Secondly, how and when should political actors choose what to react to and what not to? Because certain persons would, of course, not respond to Tambuwal. Questions begging important answers. 0817923 0002, 0817923 0003. WhatsApp is 080-903-06416. You have just a minute. I believe you can say all that needs to be said in 60 seconds. Hello, Sam. Tambuwal betraying Wike is a win for Nigerians. As a minister, he's almost like a god. Imagine him being president. I support Tambuwal with my full chest. Reverse Truth says on WhatsApp.